I'm going to treat this. Yes, sir. I'm going to treat this first half of my time as rehearsal. So be prepared to stop. If I hear something, I'm going to fix it. And then the second half, we'll do a straight run through. So it's first sketty, second movement. So from the woodwind right off the bat, I'm hearing start the air sooner. Now I'm in here, I'm not out here. Back off and sound. Together.
I like the fact that you were insistent right off the bat. Okay, I want to correct this. But you started off by telling them what you didn't like about what they played. Okay? And this is one of these things that we always struggle with as conductors. How do you provide guidance without being more critical than you need to be? Okay? For my money, you probably didn't have to say, I'm hearing ta-ba. You could have just said, just sing it the way you like it, okay? Similarly, when you talk about, I'm not out here, I'm in here, something like that, there's kind of a sternness there. I don't know if you guys picked on it, but it just felt a little stern, okay? And for me, I think I'd say, this is so beautiful, it'd be even more beautiful if it was hushed. Like, hearing walking into a cathedral and hearing a choir at the back of the cathedral. I want that sound quality, but in a more hushed tone. So try to find a positive way, a model for them, rather than, you're too loud, I'm not out here, am I? I'm down here, to try to, and I'm exaggerating, but to try to give them that positive thing to model on, okay? But like I said, I love the insistence, and you knew exactly what you wanted, which is great. So just try to find a positive way to express it.
So not talking to Marines, talking to students.
I'm going to add one thing, and that is you were very brief, and then you immediately had them play. That's such a great thing. Short, have them play. Short, have them play. It's a great way to be efficient.
Wayne, did you feel like maybe they were a little tentative coming in?
Yes.
Okay. Your body posture was tentative. The second subphrase starting at third bar, you were perfect. So, because you reached out a little bit more to them. This is tentative, this is, okay, I'll help you. If you can do that, what you did in the third bar, in the first bar, I think they'll be right with you, because they actually play better in the third bar, because you showed better.
Okay. Beginning again.
hasn't stopped, so does that mean that you're perfectly satisfied with everything that you've heard?
So far, yes.
Okay, so there's nothing that you would change thus far?
Not from what I heard.
Okay, that's fine, and I, sorry to interrupt you, but I just thought, since you said that, just a couple of thoughts. So you're doing a nice job of getting the left hand engaged, but there are a couple of spots along the way, like right here at 20, where you started to show a decrescendo, and then you kind of pulled your hand back in the second bar of the decrescendo. Same thing happens right here, where you started the diminuendo, and then you kind of pulled the left hand back. And for me, I see those 3 bars before 10, that's in diminuendo all the way to the end of the phrase, right? So I love what you started. It's like you gave up on it sooner than I think you should have.
My intention was to start with this and keep this big, and then finish the decrescendo with my baton. So
Okay.
here, but if that was confusing.
Well, it wasn't so much confusing. I just felt like you gave up on it,
Okay.
And of course, it's not always just what we do with the hand. It's what we're doing with the whole package. It's with the baton. It's also with the face, okay? And you could do more with your face. You have a very nice face, okay? And I think there's so much more. And this is one of the things that new conductors struggle with so much. It's that look of, you could call it concentration. It's the look of trying not to screw up. It's this like all the way through, right? Where you're just like, where am I? Where am I? Where am I? And so there are times where, you've heard the term introvert several times today. I always thought I was in the minority being an introverted conductor, but I think maybe there are more of us than I realize. And I've never been comfortable in front of a crowd. I always get nervous before every rehearsal, every concert, every speech. Every time I get up in front of a group, I get nervous. You think after all these years I wouldn't. But what I realized in working with the conducting teacher that I studied with, Tony Maiello at George Mason, I'm this quiet, introverted New Englander. He's this dynamic Italian, super romantic. He's just got this face that just, lights up the room. And so he was, I felt in many ways, the perfect person for me to study with because we were so opposite. And he used to say to me, you've got to do more with your face. That's where they're going to get so much of their information without even realizing it, okay? And again, it's not that you have to, be putting on a show with your face, but try to do things that are consistent with what you're doing with your hands, okay? As you're bringing the group down, you're getting smaller. There are things that you can do with your face that are going to kind of bring things down. And then when it's time for that cornet solo, the eyebrows go up. There are other things that you can do to kind of engage them as well. But use that tool to your advantage, okay? Even if you've got to fake it, okay? Even if you're not really feeling these things, there were times where, I'd be backstage before a tour concert, doing the 30th concert in a row, trying to get myself psyched up, and I would pretend backstage that I was John Philip Sousa, It's like that was the only thing that would make me feel like, okay, I'm going to play a part tonight, and that part is John Philip Sousa, and I would go out there and pretend that I was Sousa. So pretend to be somebody. Who do you want to be? What conductor do you admire? Who do you like to watch?
Say it.
You press-
I'm going to give you Leonard Bernstein.
Okay.
Pretend to be Leonard Bernstein, okay? Right? Just pretend. Just try the hat on, okay? Just give it a shot. Take it from the beginning.
Before I start, when I was doing this, do you know what I wanted?
More vibrato.
Thank you.
Wider
Making sure-
vibrato.
It was so clear. It was great. It was
I just want to make
great
sure that was
gesture.
clear.
Great gesture.
Haven't heard work on facial expression before, but here we go.
But we have to come out of our comfort zone. We have to do this as conductors. I mean, how many of us have watched video of ourselves conducting, thinking that we were being so dramatic, right? We're being, oh my God, I was over the top. And then you look at yourself and it's... So I always tell people, add 30% to whatever gesture you're doing, whether it's big, make it bigger. If it's small, make it smaller, but always exaggerate. And eventually you'll find your comfort zone where you know exactly where it's going to be, but especially as you're getting started, you've got to exaggerate, all right? Now right here where you just stopped, can you start there? You were just a little late in getting the next group in, so I
I
want
was
you to...
focusing too much on my face and
And that's okay, that's all right.
Okay.
Wait, one thing, because you're doing things so well. Do you remember the baton session? With his hand, when you're doing that, start with the left hand. One thing to add is just open up the fingers, because it's just like you did. And that will be the signal to clean up the beating. Everything else looks so much incredibly better, okay? Just that, giving them the sound, it's yours. Like that. That's perfect. So even as you start them again now, wherever you start them, use that as, it's yours, I'll help you.
Start at measure 14. Yep, measure 14. It's where the trumpet solo comes in.
So wait, does everything sound okay to you?
No, I should have stopped him right at the beginning because
So what are you hearing? What sounds wrong to you?
the background figures weren't confident in coming in.
Okay, something even more specific than that.
I'm not sure.
Not everybody was in the right place. Okay, part of your group was kind of far off. Okay, so this is where, again, one of the trickiest things we do, we're not just performing, we're listening and evaluating, okay? And I'm not saying, you always have to say, the third trumpet was one beat off. It doesn't have to be that precise. You can just stop and say, look, we're not all in the same place. This is where we're starting. Let's just start again, okay? Try it again.
Okay, find measure 20. Count 6 bars back from measure 20. That is where we're starting. Here we go, measure 14. Measure 14. In this section, saxophones, when you come in, don't cover up the trumpet. That's the main part I want to hear. When you have a longer note,
Okay, hold on just a second, Wayne. Anytime you give guidance to the group, it starts with don't or no. Ask yourself, is there another way I could have said that? So what else could you have said to the saxes rather than don't do that?
saxophones, in measure 16, what voice should you be listening to?
Oh, yes. Well said.
Make sure you can hear the cornet, something like that, but avoid those negatives if you can. Sometimes you have to just say, you're wrong, but avoid that at all costs, Try to avoid that.
And maybe the decision there too is are the saxophones too strong, or is the cornet part not strong enough?
Or a little of both.
And you decide which one you want to, because it's a layering right there. It's a magic moment.
I'll try and become a nicer person.
It's just, it's really an amazing thing. You were talking about Simon Rattle the other day, right? And I saw Simon Rattle conduct the Curtis Symphony Orchestra. He was in town guest conducting Philly, and I had a chance to watch him do a rehearsal of a Bruckner symphony we did with a symphony. And they were reading, and honestly, they didn't sound very good, But you could never have been able to tell that from Rattle's demeanor, because he went through this entire 2-hour rehearsal and he kept giving them things to work on, and ideas, and gestures, and expressing himself. It was never negative. There was never a sentence that started with, don't do this, or you're to this, or whatever. It was always, oh, that's beautiful, but you know, it would be even nicer if you could do this, you know? And horns, can you hear what the trumpets are doing over there? And so often in a moment like that, I would just say, Zach, listen to that beautiful cornet solo. And just saying that, suddenly you're directing their attention somewhere else. And the fact that you said cornet solo, boom, they're going to be thinking, I know what he's really saying, you know? But it's just a more positive way to express it. Just to backtrack a second on this issue of measure numbers, you know, a lot of conductors will write in the measure numbers in their part, especially in a score like this, but you need to remember that your players don't have those numbers. So that, like that measure 14 thing, I try to train myself to always say 6 before 20, rather than give them that measure number, because then you're risking that, oh, they're going to get that wrong, you know? But if you tell them 6 bars before 20, like you did eventually, you're going to have a much better chance for success. Okay, sorry about so much yakking here. Go ahead.
The importance to expand your vocabulary, other than don't. Okay.
And I'll tell you what, even Marines do better if you tell them things like, listen to the cornets.
Okay, let's start at measure 10, 11, 12, measure 12, because we're having this awkward transition starting at 14. So Mark, start at measure 12, please. 2 after 10? 2 after 10, yes.
Or even better, say the third measure of 10. Because as soon as you say 2 after, then you...
Are you starting on 10?
That risk. Just say third bar of 10.
Here we go. Or just have your players mark all your parts,
Yeah.
like each measure number. Here we go.